In the heart of Umuofia, infidelity was more than just a social taboo. It was a curse that carried the weight of the ancestors' wrath. The villagers believed the gods themselves had passed down the sacred laws that preserved the sanctity of marriage. A woman found guilty of adultery faces severe punishment, not only bringing shame upon herself, but also causing an entire bloodline for generations. Adaku, a striking beauty known for her grace, was raised with these teachings. Her marriage to Chinedu had been the pride of the village. Their love story was celebrated, and for a time they were the envy of everyone. But as the years passed, something began to shift. After 5 long years of marriage, Adaku still had not conceived a child. In Umuofia, childlessness was seen as a curse in itself, a sign of misfortune. The whispers about Adaku started as harmless gossip, but soon grew louder, spreading like wildfire through the village. Even Chinedu's family was not immune to the rumors. His mother, Uju, became increasingly agitated, demanding her son take another wife to preserve the family line. The pressure weighed heavily on Chinedu, who loved Adaku, but also felt the burden of society's expectations. Chinedu grew distant. The warmth that had once filled their home became a cold void. Adaku watched as the man she adored began to slip away. Fear gripped her heart as she realized she was losing him, not to another woman, but to the suffocating weight of tradition. Desperation led Adaku to consider paths she never would have before. Rumors of Nneka, a powerful herbalist who lived deep in the forest, had reached her ears. People said Nneka had the ability to speak with spirits, perform miracles, and even break curses. Some feared her, calling her a witch, while others sought her out as a healer. Adaku saw no other option. Her marriage and her future were at stake. One early morning, before the village awoke, Adaku set out on her journey. The forest was dense and foreboding, but she pressed forward, driven by a need to save her marriage. She walked for days, crossing rivers and pushing through the thick vegetation, the uncertainty of what lay ahead weighing on her heart. When she finally arrived at Nneka's isolated hut, the old woman seemed to be waiting for her. The herbalist was ancient, her face lined with the wisdom of many years. Without a word, Nneka motioned for Adaku to speak. Adaku poured out her soul, telling the herbalist of her struggles, her love for Chinedu, and her desperation for a child. Nneka listened in silence, her eyes unreadable. When Adaku finished, Nneka rose and brought out a bundle of herbs. "The spirits have spoken," Nneka said, her voice deep and raspy. "Your womb is bound by a curse, but there is a way to break it." Adaku's heart raced. "Tell me what I must do. I will do anything." Nneka's gaze darkened. "The price is steep. The spirits demand a sacrifice. To break the curse, you must lie with your father-in-law. Adaku recoiled in shock. "What you ask is impossible," she cried. "It is forbidden." Infidelity in Umuofia was one of the gravest sins. The thoughts of betraying Chinedu with his own father, Pakalu, was unimaginable, but Nneka remained unmoved. "I do not make the rules," she said. "The spirits have shown me the path. The choice is yours." Adaku left the hut in a daze, torn between her love for Chinedu and the unthinkable price she had been asked to pay. Days passed, and the tension between Adaku and Chinedu only grew worse. The whispers about him taking a second wife grew louder, and Adaku felt at times slipping away. She tried to push Nneka's words out of her mind, but they clung to her like a shadow. One evening, she saw Pakalu sitting outside his hut, his face kind and gentle as always. He had always treated her well, offering wisdom and support during difficult times in her marriage. But now, all she could see was the dark choice Nneka had laid before her. That night, after a sleepless evening of contemplation, Adaku made her decision. She couldn't bear the thought of losing Chinedu to another woman. She couldn't let her marriage fall apart. The next day, she prepared a special meal for Pakalu, using herbs Nneka had given her to ensure that he would fall into a deep, dreamless sleep. Her hands shook as she cooked, the weight of what she was about to do suffocating her. Pakalu ate the meal with gratitude, unaware of the dark intentions behind Adaku's action. Later that night, when the village was asleep, Adaku slipped into Pakalu's hut. She wore a black cloth to prevent anyone seeing her. When she entered the hut, she found him fast asleep. The air thick with the scent of the herbs. Her heart pounded with guilt, fear, and sorrow. Tears streamed down her face as she approached his bed. Every part of her screamed to stop, to turn back, to find another way. But the fear of losing Chinedu, the fear of another woman taking her place, forced her forward. With trembling hands, Adaku carried out the unthinkable act. When it was over, she fled the hut, her soul burdened with shame. She swore she would never speak of what had happened, burying the memory deep within her. Weeks later, Adaku discovered she was pregnant. When she told Chinedu, his joy was overwhelming. He embraced her, showering her with love and affection as though the past years of pain had never existed. For a brief moment, Adaku believed that perhaps everything had been worth it. The villagers stopped gossiping, and even Uju, Chinedu's mother, welcomed Adaku with open arms. It seems the curse had been lifted. But fate was not done with Adaku. When she gave birth to a healthy baby boy, it seems as though all her prayers had been answered. But only weeks later, the child fell ill. His skin turned pale, and his cries grew weaker by the day. Despite the efforts of the village healers, no remedy worked. Adaku watched in helpless horror as her son died in her arms, leaving her heart shattered. That night, Adaku had a dream. Nneka appeared before her, her face sorrowful. "The spirits are not satisfied," she said. "They demand more. If you wish to bear another child, you must lie with your father-in-law again." Adaku woke with a scream. The nightmare that had consumed her life was far from over. Haunted by the memory of her dead child and the impossible demand of the spirits, Adaku fell into despair. The sin she had committed once had nearly destroyed her, and now she was being asked to do it again. The weight of her shame, sorrow, and guilt crushed her spirit. Each night, she saw the face of her dead child in her dreams, and Nneka's words echoed in her mind. Though no one in the village knew her secret, it bit at her soul, eating away at her from the inside. Adaku was trapped. She had paid the price once, but the spirits were relentless, demanding more than she had ever imagined. The cycle of sacrifice had only begun.